everything looks very even. So I always put some, what do you call this, Grace?
That's MAC powder.
Hi Allure, I'm Tiler Peck. Get ready with me for my performance as the Sugar Plum Fairy in the Nutcracker. This is my 20th year in the company, so I've pretty much done all of the roles. So the Sugar Plum Fairy is like the queen of the land of the sweets, which is basically what everybody comes to in Act 2. So for typical stage makeup, we need a lot of foundation. So we wear a grease. When we get like our makeup tutorial when we very first get into the company, they call it grease. So now this is the pancake portion. It's called Star Blend Cake Makeup. We call it pancake. It says it's pressed powder makeup. While the mascara is drying, I typically do my blush. And then I also put it up here on the hairline just because with our stage lights, I want to make sure that there's a sort of definition before the hair and the crown and everything start. Just everything for this stage and the makeup that we do is just to sort of exaggerate and make our features as open as possible. The stage is, you know, very big, the audience is huge, and then we have those harsh like stage lights that we're constantly battling from the audience. It really helps show our features. Hi Susie. I'll just do my ponytail and then I'll be up. So I just added like a little water, just so I can get the flyaways and everything really nice and neat. And now I'm just gonna do my ponytail, and I always like to do it in a nice line of the profile. So we try to go for that. Little hairspray. And I like for it to be slick, but not so slick. So I always kind of leave just a little poof, I like to call it. Okay, so this is a little secret. So I'm just kind of pinning the hair up just to get it out of the way. But we call this like the zipper. And this is so that there's a really clean line in the back. So I take these small, almost like invisible hairpins, and I start at the bottom and I go from sort of the right side to the left. And I do that all the way up. And I always put my head up so that that gets like the most slack. Okay. Now we go to Susie. Hi Grace, good, how are you?
The Sugar Plum Fairy, when she walks on stage, everybody go, oh, it's like magic. It's supposed to be like that. So.
Susie knows I like a little lift, so that's what she did.
Some stuff that we have to keep it
magical. So now it's time for the bun, and I'm pretty good at a French twist, but when it comes to buns, Susie is the master. So I like to think of it as like a cinnamon swirl. You'll see, right?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that.
Yes. The hair is not your basic ballerina bun. It has to be a little more elaborated. For Tyler, we keep it very classical. The Sugar Plum Fairy, I make it more fuller, so that it's more sort of like more glamorous than the other regular bun. It's sort of because of the shape of the crown.
The shape of the crown, yeah. Step like once we get all the pins sort of in is to add a hairnet. And that's just for, you know, a little extra safety on stage.
A little clean out to on stage.
Okay, so now is the crown time. It's like so beautiful, these crowns. And I always we find the right placement. Is that good? And then I sort of hold it here just in the beginning while Susie pins it, just to make sure it doesn't move on her.
We use hairpins. I use like 20. These are Japanese special hairpin. They really secured everything.
And what's nice about this crown is it has green and pink, and since I'm wearing both of those colors tonight, it matches both. I feel like it's always this moment when the crown goes on that you actually feel like, okay, I'm the Sugar Plum Fairy and it's gonna happen tonight. Yeah, you know? Make sure everything looks very even, so I always put some, what do you call this, Grace?
That's MAC powder. So Tyler usually does her own makeup, but what we do is we use MAC Studio Fix powder on her body to make everything look in sync in terms of like her skin tone.
This is called Cream Blend Stick, and it's white, and I like to put just a little white in between the bottom of like the eye line and before the eyeliner, and that just also helps sort of like open it up. And then sometimes I go back downstairs and I'll like retouch up the black part, but this is just so that the eye can be as open as possible. After I come downstairs, I always do one last check for eyeliner just because of the white I added. And that little zipper that I taught you upstairs, sometimes if you put your head back, you can get just a little bit of extra hair. Well, this role in particular was what made me want to be in the New York City Ballet. I was an 11-year-old in the audience, and I said, Daddy, I'm going to dance on that stage someday. So the fact that I get to play the Sugar Plum Fairy now is sort of still like a pinch me moment. Can't believe I get to play that role. It's actually the first time I'm wearing this costume.
Yeah,
It's brand new.
Brand hot off the press.
Hot off the press. This is Bettina, my dresser.
The Sugar Plum Fairy is a difficult role and a high pressure part for the artist doing it. And she does not appear on stage till Act 2 to get into the pink costume and then to do a solo with the angels. As soon as that's over, she comes back here during the Spanish and changes into the Sugar Plum green tutu.
Yeah, I think that feels good.
Does that feel?
Yeah.
Let me just check the jewels.
This is my first look. I do the solo variation, and then my second look is the green Sugar Plum tutu. And that's what I dance with my partner in.
And I have to protect the Sugar Plum on stage left because there's the sleigh and there's set pieces and she goes running in and out. So that's when we have to be like, ah.
Yeah. I have a special way of doing it, which is kind of, I like to say, painting the rosin on. So I just take like a paper towel and I put it on all the spots that I feel like could be slippery while performing. And then on the top. And then I always put a little rosin on the inside as well, just because I feel like that helps the tights kind of grip. I guess ways of putting our shoes on. Some people use just paper towels. I don't like to feel my feet on the floor, so I use a lot of things. This is a really fun cast.
Yeah.
It's a cast of, it's a Friends cast
Yeah.
tonight.
Relaxed cast.
Relax.
Yeah.
So see here how we just sort of sew the ribbons to themselves. Like I'm not actually sewing it to my tights, but I'm just sewing them to one another so that they don't ever come out on stage. Guys come over here and I check my shoes in the mirror, make sure they look nice and neat. And this is the finished look. Thanks for joining, Allure. See you on stage.